Greetings and welcome back to the channel. I was going to take a nice long walk tonight as I often do, and it decided it wanted to rain all evening. It's actually starting to lighten up now, which figures, but I figured let's do a video. So this is how to avoid another toxic relationship. Couldn't really be more important. Who wants to do that again? You? Me? You want to be in another one of those things that you've been in? Well, I'm going to hopefully give you a really good guideline on how to avoid doing that. Some of you guys already know a bit of this, but let's put it all together because part of this channel is to help people recover from what they went through and understand it, but also to avoid it in the future. So let's get right into it. Number one, remember the past. What do I mean by that? Do I mean live in the past, don't heal, don't move on, don't move on with your life? Is that what I'm saying? No. I'm saying remember all the things that you saw in your toxic, probably narcissistic relationship. And I want to say it doesn't really matter for the sake of this video. Are you talking about narcissism? Are you talking about an avoidant? Or are you talking about a BPD, borderline personality disorder, or all these other things that are labels out there, which are really, there's differences. I just did a video on narcissist versus avoidant. There are differences and they can be very important. But overall, this is just a whole cluster of very toxic personality traits that vary in severity and spectrum. So for the sake of this, it doesn't really matter. Whatever that is you're dealing with, you don't want any part of this. So part of this is remembering the past. All the things you saw in your toxic relationship, don't forget those things. And what I mean by that is remember what you saw in people. Remember what they're capable of doing. Remember that at this day and age, a very huge number of individuals that you're going to meet out there are horribly toxic. And I'm not saying that to scare people. It is the absolute truth. You are far more likely to meet one of these individuals than you are a healthy or decent or good person. Just far and away. It's not close. Don't forget what they're capable of. Don't forget what it's like to be in that relationship. Because it's easy to forget as time goes on. And when you start to get into something, perhaps with another person, if you want to, if you've forgotten the lessons and how bad it is and how severe it can be, then you will often look past a lot of things with other people. So just remember, there's a lot of individuals like this out there. They do put you just simply through hell. It's not worth it. You're far and away better off by yourself than you are with one of those people. And just don't forget about what it's like, because that will put blinders back on as you move forward with your life. If you compartmentalize it so much, yes, you should heal, absolutely heal. But if you forget everything that you saw and you block all of that out, you're going to fall for it again, very likely. What goes along with this, when you put the blinders up and you forget everything you saw and what people can be like and what it's like to be in a relationship with a toxic person, you will ignore what is critical. Red flags. Red flags. If you want to avoid doing this again, understand what you experienced. And when you start to see those things in a new person, hit the road. Now, here's the thing with red flags. We can be so eager to see them based on the trauma of a toxic relationship that we can write a good person off very quickly for maybe a misstep. Or maybe we perceived that they were doing something that we thought was similar. So don't be so eager to see red flags that you just, boom, you just write somebody off like it's nothing. Because you might miss out on a really good person. I can tell you right now, I make mistakes sometimes. I've said things to people that just came off the wrong way. And if you took that in isolation, you might think I'm toxic. You guys have probably done it too. So don't be too eager And this is important because the later points that I'm going to get to will go back over why it's how you can avoid being so eager to see it. That said, never forget the things that you already saw and when you start to see them pop up. So, if a person is bringing up, for instance, an X just a little too often, red flag. Either they're still hung up on them or they're using them for triangulation. Whatever the case is, you don't want any part of that. Anyone who is hung up on an X for any reason at all, you don't want a part of it. They haven't healed, they haven't moved on, or they're using them, like I said, abusively. Somebody who is going to start making jabby little jokey remarks at your expense. Little teensy cuts. This guy thought he was going to use a flathead. So funny. Those little things are used to embarrass you. Anyone early on who's willing to give little cutting, jabby remarks is probably highly insecure. They're trying to knock you down. They're trying to test you. They're trying to see if you'll put up with it. But I guarantee you, anyone who's willing to criticize early on, and again, usually in sarcastic, jokey ways at first, get out. I've seen it numerous times now. Because anybody who's willing to do that is going to get worse with that practice. They're criticizing you just a little bit now. They're going to criticize you a lot later on. Promise you that. Red flag. Somebody who's told you they've been in an endless slew of relationships, and nothing ever works out, and my relationships are always short-lived, and I'm the common denominator, and anything like that, get out. It's not going to be different with you. If 50 relationships before you were short-lived and didn't work out, that person's the common denominator. It is them. You're not going to fix it. I don't care. Again, this doesn't matter if they're a narc, if they're an avoidant, if they're a borderline, whatever they are, it doesn't matter because a person's track record in that sense is just their track record. Is it possible for someone to see the light, the error of their ways, change? If the person can really explain why they've had so many burnout relationships, and you can see that, okay, maybe they're starting to get it right, but tread cautiously. Usually, a bunch of burnout relationships is you're going to have the same exact result 9 times out of 10, maybe 9.9 times out of 10. So those are red flags to look for. If somebody is distant or aloof, there's a fine line. There's two things at play here. If they're trying to push a relationship really, really quickly, major red flag. We've seen that before. That's the narcissist. They want to get that thing going at the speed of light. Boom, 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 boom. Fast as they can. That's a red flag. That's somebody who's probably highly toxic or really insecure or on the rebound or something that you don't want to deal with. On the other hand, there are plenty of people out there who will just string you along and just breadcrumb you along to death. Avoidants love to do this. The dismissive avoidant especially love to do this. I've been fortunate enough to deal with a borderline, a narc, and then an avoidant back to back to back in my adult life. So I kind of know what I'm talking about on this, unfortunately. The avoidant, though, will string you along because they're frightened. They're deathly afraid to get anything going with you. They might even like you. I think avoidants typically do. They actually like you. They can love in some sense. They're not even doing things, I don't think, as purposely as the narcissist is. They're not trying to just destroy you. But something in them is deeply broken, and they cannot form an attachment, and they're deathly afraid. Even to have a date with one of them. I guess I better get my life together. Ooh, I don't know about this. That's how they are. Guys, that's just as big a red flag as somebody who wants to move lightning fast. So if they're moving way too fast, red flag. If they're moving way too slow, red flag. There should be a balance where you feel like you're just kind of steadily progressing. It's reciprocal when I say something and they say something, and we talk a little bit. Then we're talking on the phone maybe a little bit. Then we're going on a date here and there. But the communication is it's not crazy overkill. It's not too much, but it's not too little. It's steady. You feel like you're just building something up. That's how it's supposed to be. The other two extremes run for your life. Red flag, red flag. There's a lot of other things. I'm not thinking of everything right now because I also have to move on to the next point. But drop comments below about other red flags that you see early on. So remember the past. Don't put the blinders on. Spot the red flags. Don't be too quick to dismiss somebody off of just something you saw you don't like. But also don't collect the clues. You know, when you start to see these things compound, they did that. They did that again. Huh. Now they did this. Now they triangulated me. They brought that X up again. And when you've seen enough, cut it off. You have to. I know it's hard. Like we grow feelings for people. You grow attachment, especially people like us who care deeply. That's why you can't. I've learned my lesson on this, guys. I promise you, with the last thing I dealt with, the avoidant. Don't let yourself get too far into anything again because it's hard to break it loose. Remember the past, watch for the red flags. When you've seen enough to know, please dismiss the person quietly and calmly. Next thing, I already mentioned this. I beat myself with a punch. Collect the data. I won't rehash it again. Collect those little red flags. See what occurs. See how they respond. Is this person building something up? Is it too fast? Is it too slow? Are they triangulating me? Are they distant? Are they cutting and critical? Collect the clues so that you can make an informed decision. And just be calm, stoic, peaceful with it. There's no reason to make rash decisions about anything anymore. Just go into it calmly, give the person a shot, but be recording those red flags as you see them, if you see them. And when you get to a point where you're like, okay, I've collected enough data to make an informed decision. This is a toxic person. No, thank you. Like I said, then you don't have to dismiss them in a mean way. You don't have to make trouble. Just slowly fade off from that person. Next one. I can't stress this one enough. And people still don't listen. They're not listening to me. They're not listening to other people. And I still hear horror stories. Get off the dating sites. Get off the dating apps. I'm not going to go on a massive diatribe about this because there's so many facets, but every time almost I hear anyone talk about, man, I met this really toxic. Did you mean on a dating site? Well, yeah. I've met every one of my toxic people in real life. So I'm not saying that you can't meet them in real life. They're everywhere. But I'm telling you, there is an overabundance of very, very high concentration of narcissistic and toxic people on dating apps. Not to mention married people, engaged people, people with boyfriends and girlfriends, people doing catfish profiles, fake profiles, showing themselves with glamour pics when they're really nasty, telling you they're 38 when they're 58. And not to mention, guys, the one thing a dating site does to everybody who uses them is it pollutes your mind. Well, how? Because you're constantly swiping, judging people largely off appearance. That's one way. The other problem is you're usually dealing with so many people, and they're dealing with so many people, you can't even keep track of it. You can't even keep it straight. Great, throw your hat into that ring. She looks like she's attractive. She seems like she has the interests I do. Let's try it. Whoa, she's talking to me. What you don't realize is she's talking to 15 other people. And her mind is polluted. It's attention, 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 attention. Are you really going to compete with that? Why? That people that are so caught up on attention and constantly dealing with so many different people, as most are on dating apps, their minds are usually fried. You're not going to have success with them. But Brian, I know somebody who met their wife on a dating site. That's wonderful. Hats off to you. Clap, round of applause. I know people who've gone to Las Vegas and come back winners. I know 10 times as many who go there and get their butts kicked. Stay off the dating apps, guys. I'm just going to keep telling you. Many of you are not listening. That's fine. Keep crashing and burning, and each time you do, you lose a little bit of yourself. You get a little more frustrated, you get a little less trusting. That's fine. My advice is get off of them. Next one. I got a couple left. Don't be too eager. So let's just say you're not on a dating app and you're doing things the right way, which meeting people organically in life the way that they always have until the last 15 to 20 years of human history, when, by the way, it's all gone totally to crap, in case you haven't noticed, like exponentially worse than it's ever been. Not a coincidence. If you are handling things in real life, even then, don't be too eager. What I mean by that is get yourself into a good place where you're happy on your own. This could be a point of its own, but I'll join it to this one. Be content on your own. If you can't be happy by yourself, you're not going to be happy with someone else. They're not going to come in and complete the puzzle. And I was so horrible, I couldn't do it. And then this person came along, and now I'm whole, and now I'm complete. It's not how it works. Be whole and complete on your own, in the Lord, preferably. That's how you really get whole and complete in this life. Be happy by yourself. I'm not saying that it doesn't mean you never want to have anybody. I'm saying you don't need to have anybody to be content and at peace in your life. If you can get there and you still want to date, because I'm there and I actually don't want to date because I don't want to blow it. This is great. If God drops somebody in my lap, I'm not going to turn that away. But I'm also not like it is, I'm saying here, I'm not eager. I'm not running around out there going to coffee shops thinking, will I bump into somebody? Well, there's this community event coming up. I'll go there so I can meet somebody. Oh, well, I'm going to church jump. I know people who jump churches, guys, church to church because they're hoping they're going to find somebody if they do it. Too eager. That's not going to work most of the time. What you are going to do is disappoint yourself over and over and over and over. I'm convinced, if nothing else, at this point, guys, with as bad as it is out there, as bad as it is, where I'm going to say about 95+% in my estimation of people are absolutely gone. You can't do anything with them for a relationship. When it's that bad, you have one option. You get what some people would say, you get lucky. I would say God actually wants to do this in your life. He brings somebody into your life or you into theirs some way, somehow, through mutual friends, through living organically, through just it happens. Because guys, you're not going to search under every stone and rock and every corner and go to every event and where are they? I'm gonna meet up. No, that's not going to work. And that's why I think it's a cliche saying, and I don't love it, but there's some truth to it. Things happen when you least expect them. To some degree, that can be true because you're not frantically looking around. And guys, let me tell you this, I know this too. Nothing is bigger turnoff than someone who smacks of desperation. If you meet a wonderful, godly person who's got their life in order and you smack of desperation, that's going to turn them off. Nobody wants somebody who seems so desperate to have a relationship. Just remember that. Because you also don't want to blow it with a good person if you come across one because you're just so lonely and you're so unhappy by yourself and you're so eager for a relationship. But let me promise you this too. The more eager you are, the more you're going to find those toxic people because you're going to take whatever. Hey, she looked at me. Hey, too eager. You're going to meet the wrong people. Last one. I don't know if it's the most important. Actually, yes, it is. because it's this one last thing that really encapsulates all the other things. And sorry, guys, the looks really bright all of a sudden. The sun just popped out and it's blasting me. So anyway, hope it doesn't look terrible, but I'm going to finish. So listen if you haven't heard the other ones. Go slowly. But Brian, you said at first that if a relationship's going too slowly, yes, you can go too slowly. I didn't say go too slowly. I said go slowly. Don't race into anything. Give yourself some time to collect the data, to spot the red flags. Remember something, toxic people will always tell on themselves. Just got to let them do it. If you race into something, that's the mistake many of us made. We got into a relationship with the narcissist so quickly that we just didn't give them time to even tell on themselves. Because they will. Don't go so slow that you're dragging your feet and you're breadcrumbing. Build something up, but go slowly enough that mainly you're not in a full-fledged committed relationship overnight. You're not moving in with somebody ever unless you're married, full stop. And you're not getting married quickly. I did a video a long time ago. Never marry quickly. This day and age, even if you met somebody you think they're great and you married quickly and it worked out, you got really lucky because you never gave the person a chance to show themselves at all. Go slowly. Collect the data, spot the red flags if they're there, build it up at a good pace, calm. It's steady. It's moving. It's moving along. I'll text and she'll text. I'll talk and she'll talk. We went on a date last week. We texted some and talked some this week. We planned another date for sometime next week. That's great. Not so fast, though, that it's like we see each other every day. We just met and we've been on 5 dates in the last week. We talk every day and every night. We text 500 times a day. Too fast. Way too fast. So tread slowly enough to see the red flags, to spot what you need, to collect the data, but not so slow that you bore the other person or you become a walking red flag because you're dragging your feet. It's got to be a nice pace to it, but the biggest thing is definitely don't go fast. So anyway, guys, that's my advice for how to avoid another toxic relationship because I don't want you in one. I sure as heck don't want to be in one. And if you don't even want to pursue that stuff at all, as I really don't at this point, at least right now, then don't. No harm in that. Find your peace, be happy on your own. But I'd at least say this, be open. Even if you don't want to date, you're not even thinking about it. That's a great place to be. But it's at least be open in case God wants to do something like that in your life. Be ready for it. So anyway, guys, I hope this was good for you and valuable. Drop comments below if I missed anything or just your thoughts. Anyway, I'll come at you with another one again soon. And until then, God bless.